Hello, welcome to my stream. I started a bit late. I didn't realize the time. I'm very sorry about that. Let me quickly see if I'm live here. I'm not. There you go. I'm live. Perfect. Sorry for starting a bit late. I wasn't paying attention to the time at all. So yeah. Anyhow, you can read the title. You can read the thumbnail, I suppose. You know what you're here for. Manchester City's transfer news. Let's get to it finally. And I think we'll start with the obvious pieces before we get to anything else. So, what is obvious? Let me get my marker out here. Savio. He signed. Great. I like Savio. Watched him a lot at Girona. Didn't watch the full season, but I watched quite a bit of him at Girona. He played really well. I like him. He's the type of player that Pep likes to ruin a bit, but I don't think he will. I think that we're going to see more of a Leroy Sané type of player coming out of Savio here. Like, imagine Leroy Sané at Man City, but better. That is what I'm expecting to see from Savio. Maybe not in his first season, but in his second season at the very least. So that is the obvious. Then, what is less obvious? Rodri is dying because we don't want to get him a fucking cover. And that's everything. Thank you for watching the stream. Bye bye. Okay, but no, seriously. That's obviously not everything, but Rodri needs cover. We still don't have it. But we will get into that later. I think first let's talk about some other things, and then we can get back to Rodri, right? So, what do I want to talk about? Jan Kuto and Sergio Gomez have both left Manchester City. Kyle Walker is now our only right back. Well, he already was when Jan Kuto left. Like, it's not like Gomez was ever going to break through, but you get the point, right? Walker is our right back now, and I have zero faith in Kyle Walker. Yeah, this guy. My faith in him is gone. So, Kyle Walker being our only fullback or right back. Like, Akanji can play that place, and so can Rico Lewis. I don't know how I feel about that. I really want Manchester City to go out there, get a right back, and get a Rodri cover. And if that right back ends up being Kimmich, then it's fine. One transfer, Kimmich, right? That's fine. But if it's not Kimmich who can play both right back and defensive midfield to cover for Rodri, then I don't think that just one transfer here is enough. Which is, unless Maxime Perron comes in as the Rodri cover as he has been hyped up to be, which, again, I'm not very impressed by him in pre-season, but I can see some potential in him, and I'll trust Pep on Perron. So, maybe we bring Perron in for the Rodri cover. Maybe he'll play, I don't know, 10 games in the season. That's 10 games that Rodri gets rested. That's a lot more than 0 games. So, obviously, if that works, it works, and that's great by me. And then maybe Rico Lewis and Akanji play for that right back spot. I'm not sure about that. Or, what you could also do is Rico Lewis, defensive midfield. Again, not sure about that. I think Rico Lewis could very well do the defensive midfield role, and then rotate with Akanji for right back. I struggle to see how exactly we would do this, but it can work. I just don't know how exactly we would do it. But yeah, Kyle Walker no longer has my trust, as I said just 5 seconds ago. So that is why I am looking at least 2 transfers, or Joshua Kimmich, or maybe some promotions from the youth team players and more game time from those youth team players. Now then, there's also a bit of news around Ederson and Alvarez. Ederson is a bit more difficult to talk about because he hasn't come out and said that he wants to leave. Because there was an article that he wanted to leave, but that was fake news. Ederson came out himself and said, this is not true, I never said that. So, Ederson could be leaving because he is open to the option to leave, basically, if he gets a lot of money. But he's not desperate for the move. Which is why I believe the club is probably going to hold on to him. They might say, listen, Ederson, you're open to a move right now, you're not desperate for it. How about you wait another year, or maybe even 2 years, and then you can leave the Saudi? I believe Ederson will be fine with that, and I believe he will stay. Then Alvarez, that's different. Alvarez has verbatim said, if I can find him here amongst my players, said, Alvarez has verbatim said, I want to leave Man City. I mean, I made a video about Alvarez wanting to leave Manchester City, and very basically said there is no way we hold on to Alvarez for much longer. We will maybe hold on to him for the rest of the year, or like for one more season. But he will leave. He will leave. It's either this summer and winter, or the next summer. He will leave. I promise you, he's not staying. I really want him to stay, yeah. He's so good. He's the best striker on a bench in the world. But he's not happy being on the bench for understandable reasons. He is one of the 5 best strikers in the world, so he's not happy being on the bench. So then, Bruno and Oscar Bob. Now, a bit of background for those who don't know what this story is. Where is Oscar Bob? Here he is. A bit of background for this story. There was a rumor that Bruno Guimaraes would be... Oh, come on. That Bruno Guimaraes would be coming in, and that Manchester City would loan out Oscar Bob or Rico Lewis for Bruno Guimaraes. Now, obviously, what is the goal of this? Bruno plays as the Rodri cover. Great. Oscar Bob or Rico Lewis, it's one or the other, not both, would go to Newcastle and play there on loan. Sounds great before pre-season. Now, Rico Lewis, I was never keen on loaning out. I was always saying, Rico Lewis, I want him to stay. Bob, I was like, maybe a season loaned out might be good for him. Now I'm not so sure anymore. Now I'm like looking at Oscar Bob and saying, he's playing really good in pre-season, and Pep clearly likes him, and Bob doesn't mind waiting another season before coming in full time. Maybe he'll go out on loan, but I find it very unlikely. I just find it very unlikely that Bob will just go out on loan now, so if neither Rico Lewis or Bob are going out on loan, I'm sorry to say this, Bruno Guimaraes is not happening. This is a prediction here for the street for let me pop this out. This is a prediction for what do I say? This is a prediction for the next season, right? Oscar Bob is staying. So is Rico Lewis, and nobody is leaving. What am I trying to say right now? I'm working on my GUI here because I forgot to pop out my chat because I was late to the stream, and trying to talk at the same time, and clearly it doesn't work. So yeah, Alvarez is so good to be benched. I absolutely agree with that. So yeah, what was I saying? Bruno, he's not coming. That's my prediction for the rest of the transfer window. Bruno is not coming. He will never come. I think it's this summer or never for Bruno Guimaraes. And I think Bruno Guimaraes is never coming to Manchester City. He would have come already if he would have, but he hasn't. It's not happening. So if Bruno Guimaraes isn't coming, maybe Kimmich, which I have hinted to earlier, is coming. Obviously can play right back, can play as a defensive midfielder, and can play as a central midfielder. So you've got a lot of diversity and variety with Kimmich. He can cross a ball decently, but Savio is better at that for sure. I don't think we need to bring in Kimmich to cross a ball. So Kimmich, is he coming? Here is my prediction on Kimmich. Kimmich is going to not come, because we have Rico Lewis, and Akanji, and Kyle Walker, where is Walker here, all on this right back position. So getting Kimmich doesn't make sense. It simply doesn't make sense. Because you just want somebody to play defensive midfield and sometimes play higher up in midfield with these right backs. I would love Kimmich, I think he'd be great. I just don't think it's happening. I think Pep is looking right now, he has 3 right backs. Does he really need a 4th? I don't think he's looking at that. So then, Rodri covered. Is it going to be Perron? Maybe. But if it's not Perron, I think it will be Kimmich or a player that wasn't even named at all yet. But I think it's gonna be Perron, to be fair, or a player that we haven't heard of yet. Don't think Kimmich is coming. I don't think Bruno is coming. So yeah, that's that for the Rodri covers. Rodri will die. Tough luck. And then, before we get into maybe the final bits here of the stream, Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips and Cancelo are still at Manchester City. These two guys. Now, Cancelo. Cancelo will leave when he is dead. That's basically the gist of it. Cancelo will leave Man City when he is dead. He's staying here. We can't sell him for some reason. He hasn't played a single game in pre-season either. Have you found somebody who wants him to loan out to? I have no idea, but he's not played a single pre-season game. Cancelo ain't leaving City for this season. It's just not happening. It's simply not happening. So then, Calvin Phillips here. Phillips. He is the laziest, most worthless Manchester City player in my lifetime. He has some nice attitude in front of the fucking cameras, yeah? But when he's not on fucking camera, yeah, I promise you, that guy is worthless, he half-asses everything, on the pitch he does not try. We can't get him out. He came to Man City to collect some money, to win some medals, and then to fuck off. This guy does not care about Man City or football. This guy is a pure fraud who I cannot stand, and you should not respect. Absolutely should not respect this guy. He acts nice on camera. Behind camera, he's a fucking asshole. We know that he's an asshole because he showed up overweight in training. Nobody likes him at Man City. He doesn't try when he's on the pitch, but he acts nice on camera, so we like him. This guy, how he ever got into Manchester City, whoever the scout was here, that got Calvin Phillips, just fire that guy, man. Fire that scout. Or at the very least, cut his wages in half. Okay, so that's talking about Cancelo and Phillips. Now, on to the final bits of the stream here. There were a few transfer rumors going around that we would look for a player like Dani Olmo or Musiala or Wirtz as a De Bruyne replacement. They're still floating around, and all three of those players, although Wirtz is usually used as the player that we're getting next season, I don't think either of them or any of them are coming really. Dani Olmo is too old. Like, he's young, but he's not as young as people think he is. And if you're gonna be a De Bruyne replacement, we are looking at a 24-year-old, not a 26-year-old or 27-year-old. Realistically speaking here. Because look at the rest of the squads here. Foden, 24, 23 I believe, 22 as well. All our new generation players are very young. If we're gonna bring in a De Bruyne replacement, it's Musiala or Wirtz. And I don't think either of them is coming. Not this season. I'm not going to make predictions for the next season's transfer business, because I'm not Manchester City. I don't work at Manchester City. I'm an accountant, but I've got nothing to do with 115. So, I've no idea what the plan is for Manchester City. If we get a De Bruyne replacement, it's gonna be a younger one. We are looking at Echeverri right now, playing for Girona, half a season. I think he plays for Girona until January, and then he comes to Manchester City. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, we're looking at Echeverri to be the De Bruyne replacement. So I simply don't think Dani Olmo is ever happening. And Musiala or Wirtz really depends on how good Echeverri does. Really depends on how good Echeverri does. Once, if he comes on into Man City's team. So for the De Bruyne replacement, it's not happening this window. Maybe next summer. I won't make predictions for that far into the future. I don't know Manchester City's plans. And now for the end of the stream, to finish it off here, I just want to give a small side note to Manchester City's academy, which has made even more money this season than the season before that, and that was more money than the season before that. Manchester City's academy is the most profitable youth academy in football as a whole. We are generating talent and selling them. Now we have players like Asbrand who are terrible and won't get sold, at least not for good prices. But we also have players like Cole Palmer who are coming through and being sold, just generating money. Palmer was never gonna be good enough for Manchester City. Like, he's balling out at Chelsea, right? And it looks great. But put him in a Man City team and he can't do what he has to do to win a four-peat, for example. So that is a player who was just below the level of Man City, but a great player in his own, went out to Chelsea, made us money. That was last season. This season we have again sold a lot of youngsters. This academy from Man City is actually insane. So I think I'll end the stream on a positive note there. Our academy is still generating money. We are moving further and further into a situation where we will be able to spend 200 million in back-to-back transfer windows because we'll have so much money. I'm not saying that we will have to do that, but I'm saying that we are actually reaching the point where financially we can do that. Like, we already technically have the ability to do that within the FFP limits. The problem is you have 3 years, I believe it's 3 years, to fix your books after spending a lot of money. So if you fail in that, that's a bit risky, right? We could really set up to become the richest club in England. Right now we are not the richest in England yet, by the way. People think we are because we spend a lot of money. But Chelsea, Arsenal and Manchester United are still richer than us. Liverpool is too, I believe, but they just don't spend money. Because the owners like to pocket it, right? So yeah, that's that. Shout out to the Manchester City Academy, yeah? And thank you for sticking along in this live stream where I went over the transfers that happened in the season, of course, in the season. In July, nothing much. Again, this is a very boring transfer window. Very difficult to make videos on, if I'm being honest, when nothing happens. But thank you guys for sticking along to the end. And tell me down below in the comments if you're watching this stream on replay. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.